What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at firstlibertyga.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app. Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Back Your Blue highlights special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Join a Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Matalon and host Tug Coward to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Now it's time to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart, host of the Morning Extra, Monday through Friday from 6 until 10. And with me, as always, the CEO and founder of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, Daniel Matalon. What's up, man? How are you today?
What's going on? How are you?
Buddy, doing the best I can. We got a great guest, Pete Andrews. He is the CEO of Reconnect, and you lead a team of passionate and talented professionals who are committed to providing revolutionary technology solutions that genuinely help our communities. Reconnect is a top 10 community corrections service provider that offers innovative products and services from probation, parole, reentry, and retrial programs worldwide. Man, we'll have to get in because I don't know what half of those are.
No problem. Yeah.
Pete, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You flew in from Raleigh.
I did. Yep, flew in this morning.
And he told me, Daniel, that his son is a little upset with him that he came to the ballpark today without him.
Yeah, second time I've done that to him.
Uh-oh.
So I'm on the dog list right now.
That's right. You grew up a Braves fan?
Braves fan, yep. Living in Raleigh, their closest team. So
That's right.
We're huge Braves fans there.
I love it. I love it. It's funny because I was asking him, Daniel, about his wife and kids and family and background, that sort of stuff. And he told me that his wife has no idea what he does for a living. Like doesn't even have a good guess.
Not even close.
Yeah. So what? How would you explain what you do, and then tell me what your wife actually thinks you do?
Well, the second part might be the hard part.
Okay.
The simplest way to explain is we provide technology solutions for or accountability-based programs throughout the country.
Okay.
How my wife registers that, I have no idea. She struggles with exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And it is unique. It's a niche industry, and there's a lot of different programs.
Yeah.
And we just cover a lot of ground with that.
Yeah. So, do you mind telling the story to everybody about what your son said you do for a living?
Yeah. So early in my career, I worked for a company that built breathalyzers for cars. And so when he was in third grade, he was asked what his dad does for work, and my son said he blows into breathalyzers in cars. And so
teacher was like,
I had to explain
hang
that.
on, he does what?
Yeah, so I had to explain that to him afterward. That's not exactly what Daddy does, but yeah. So kids' imaginations.
They can get a little sideways for sure. So what is it? How long have you been married? Like what's family life about?
We've been together for almost 20 years. Yes, she's been on the long journey with me. Got a 12-year-old and 4-year-old. Rambunctious boys. Love baseball, love sports, just into everything.
Yeah, but you have been working in this industry a long time because I thought for sure, man, you got the high and tight. I thought for sure you're a military guy.
Yeah.
And turns out no.
No military. Just kind of been in this industry since an early age, and I was telling you earlier, it was a job at first, and then it turned into a career, and then somewhere down the line it became a passion.
Pete, what keep outside of work? Like what keeps you engaged, man? Do you like to read? Do you like to hunt? Do you like to go to ball games? What is it?
I like to hang out with my boys, go to ball games. Yeah, pretty simple. I work a lot, so
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of downtime.
Yeah, well, look, I think, Daniel, you could probably relate to that one, can't you?
I can definitely relate to that. 100%.
Like, what's a typical week for you? Like hours, right? I mean, are you at like 80 hours a week or something crazy like that?
So I mean, like I'm 24/7, right? I mean, I burn the candle at both ends. I get up early and I go to sleep late. Probably not the best thing to do, but
Yeah.
I've just been used to it for
So many years.
over 15 years. Yeah, 17. Yeah, I mean.
Pete, what about you at Reconnect? What's the work week look like?
I think it's the same. It's 24/7, just kind of being available.
Never
right?
turn it off.
Yeah, and what I would say is it's a little bit addicting because it's rewarding, right? Like
Yeah.
you see the outcomes when you do positive things for either people that are running the programs or people going through these programs. And so as much as it can be daunting, it's also really rewarding as well.
So, nearly 20 years of experience in the technology industry, developed those skills and expertise in government relations, proven track record generating commercial sales and reducing customer acquisition costs and engaging teams, teaching the goals, and helping community-based programs achieve better societal outcomes. And that sounds like a thick way of saying you help people out.
We help people out. A lot easier to say it that way.
And in what way do you do that?
So a variety of ways. Just really with a lot of these accountability-based programs we work with is trying to figure out what they're doing, how to help them. They're all good-intentioned people. They all want tools and technology, and so we kind of try to identify those and build those out for them.
How does the monitoring work? Because I said, that Reconnect is a top 10 community corrections service provider offering innovative products like probation, parole, re-entry, and pretrial programs, and we can go through each one of those. But how does the monitoring work altogether? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, so I think the traditional sense of monitoring is you have a probation officer and they're meeting with somebody, right? And I think over the past few decades, there's been new tools and instruments out there like the ankle bracelet. But that was kind of it for a while, right? So it was incarceration, an ankle bracelet, and then nothing. And there's this huge wide gap of people that were low risk to mid risk offenders that needed something. So that's the audience that we target. And for us, we do that through a variety of different tools. It could be engagement tools, making sure they're meeting their counseling meetings, AA meetings, anger management meetings. It could be from 24/7 tracking their phone or other monitoring tools digitally.
Like, I think I know what probation is. Like you said, go checking in with a probation officer, just to check the boxes, man, to do the things that you have to do to, get yourself in a good situation. Parole, I think I kind of understand. You want to walk people through that because I think they hear it on, probably TV shows and on movies, but I don't know that they know exactly what it really is.
Yeah. So a lot of it is reentry programs, and there's a wide variance of those throughout the country that are very sophisticated and not sophisticated. And there's just a big gap of you go from a prison situation, which is highly structured, you know when to eat, you know when to shower, you're going back out to society, and it's how do you lead them for success and not ending back in that same spot. And so stories we've heard in the past are, they get out of jail and they're given $200 and a list of a bunch of things they have to do, and they say, good luck, hope you make it, right? And what we try to do with partners is figure out what are the community resources in the area, like how often do they need to meet with their parole officer, how do you help them find jobs, how do you help get them dialed in and get them structured so it's a segue from that in-facility environment.
Did you touch on pretrial programs? Because I have no idea what that is. I've never even heard that as a statement. I've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, I think Daniel would probably have the most experience with that, but I'll take a stab at it real quick, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So we work a lot of pretrial departments, and it's pre-sentencing instead of post-adjudication. And so while they're waiting for their court dates, they're in this period of time that they need supervision, and in that, a lot of that is make sure you're making your appointments, make sure you're not creating another crime while you're on pretrial, things of that nature.
Daniel, you jump in. Pretrial is something y'all deal with regularity, as people are saying. And sometimes the judge requires it as a part of the bond, right? So you'll report to pretrial services, and sometimes you may have a monitor involved, ankle bracelet, and then there's certain specific zones and there's more regulation on kind of what you're doing, so to speak. So it might be a more higher risk case, or it just depends. But yes, so there's a whole department dedicated to that, and they about it on the front end when you're getting released. So they'll tell you have 24 hours to report to pretrial services, and then they'll kind of stay with you till the end of the case.
Okay. And I know. Well, go ahead. What were you about to say?
I was just saying, I think a big part too is not overcrowding our jails, right? So
right.
They've created a crime of lesser significance than some that needs to be in jail in that waiting period, and so they're kind of in this waiting period to see how their case unfolds, right? And during that period of time, you want to have some sort of engagement with them, accountability, make sure that they're again doing the things they need to, so that they can get to that day in court.
And is something you guys handle every day. I mean, that's what a second chance bail bonds does all the time, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
And a second chance monitoring, which was a spinoff off of obviously a second chance bail bonds, but right, yeah,
it's just the technology end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how long have y'all been doing that?
So I was like in it. I've been in and out of it, but now back in it for the last 3 years, and then prior to that, I was also in the very early days of the second chance bail bonds. And, going back to what Pete said is the passion part about this, and that's really what led to it, right? I definitely did not need one more business to go open, and literally. And
but it just made so much sense.
But it made so much sense, and it allowed us to continue and even get deeper in the process. So not only now were we on the front end of it, now we were all the way going through the process, and it kind of allowed us to have constant contact with these people who are our clients already to begin with, and also, the wraparound services, I guess, is kind of how they explain it in some places, but that's kind of where Pete comes in and provides those solutions, which are great solutions. And that's kind of like he said with the ankle monitor. It was for so long, that's all it was ankle bracelet. And what Pete does, I think, is great, because it's the future of kind of where we're going. And look, everything needs to evolve, right? And there was a lack of that happening in that industry, and that's kind of what Reconnect brings to the table.
And it seems like then, with the different layers of a second chance and what y'all do at Reconnect, it kind of continues the relationship with the client from beginning to end. Did I hear that correctly? Because
absolutely,
it just seems like it would be so many more touch points.
Absolutely. For the participants going into it as well, I think it's very helpful for them to engage too, right? And so historically, it's difficult to call up your agency to find out what's going on versus having technology that can engage with them on a regular basis to kind of keep them up to date, which is super helpful.
And I tell you, there's so much out there and so much going on. It's great that we have you, Pete, here, the CEO of Reconnect, and of course Daniel Madelon, our co-host on Back Your Blue here on Extra 106.3. He is the founder and CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds. And y'all have been working together, and in the next segment, I think that may be where we want to go. How y'all are working together, the benefit of working together, and some of the other things that we want to get answered about Reconnect, like what type of defendants are eligible to use monitoring that y'all do and y'all create. So we'll do that next here on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart. This is Back Your Blue.
Calling all aspiring tradespeople. Ready to master a new skill to boost your career? Introducing the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. Learn from industry experts from the comfort of your own home. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical work, we've got you covered. Gain hands-on expertise through immersive virtual simulations and connect with instructors who have been in the field. Elevate your career potential. The Blue Collar Virtual Trade School, where future begins with a click. Visit thebluecollarvirtualtradeschool.com or call 678-916-6145.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
This is Back Your Blue, presented by A Second Chance Bail Bonds, live on Extra 106.3 FM and streaming for free anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue here on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowarts, along with co-host Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO and founder of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and as we learned in that last segment, a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Do a bunch of different layers of what y'all do.
That's right.
You got quite the onion.
Bunch of different companies.
Yes, no kidding. But all in the same direction. Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, right.
More or less.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe not the foundation. The foundation doing good works in the community, aside from work and business. But, I mean, I guess I just mean that you work in that industry where you've connected with Pete Andrews, who's the CEO of Reconnect, and that's opened up a whole new set of doors.
Yeah, so I knew who Pete was, and I knew what Reconnect was, and look, the monitoring industry, I don't know how else you'd explain it, but it's small. It's smaller than most people realize, but
kind of a niche.
Some of my relationships that I had kind of had me going in one direction, but I always had known about Reconnect and kind of was intrigued by it early on, and so through some restructuring kind of that we were doing and coming up with new ideas at A Second Chance Monitoring, that's what led I had reached out to some people that I knew in the industry that knew Pete and was able to connect us together and now we're going to be able to collaborate.
Okay, and partner together, something that I know you're looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. We love what Daniel's doing in the community, right? And for us to have community partners that are fighting the same fight, right, to help these agencies out, to help the community, and so you clear the jailhouses and figure out root causes, what's going on, right? I think the old we can't arrest our way out of this situation, right? And so a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do is identify underlying situations and figure out how to address those so that the cycle gets broken, right? And that's not easy work for us or for Daniel or for folks that are working in these programs. But that's what drives us is that portion.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. And when you think about what's happening in our jails, I mean, here in Atlanta, I mean, I know you're in Raleigh, but here in Atlanta, they have a real issue with prisoners being injured or sick or being mistreated, some of them dying.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it too, right, is getting people, or at least that's what it sounds like to me, getting people out of that situation to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. What do they say? You go in and you graduate with a criminal degree when you go in. So like you're learning stuff that they probably wouldn't have learned out being out. And it's not productive to take people away from their family or from their work, right, as well as to be able to have them in society working and doing programs that are really helping the root cause. And I've had programs, and Daniel, you've probably seen this as well, is where, we've had individuals say, I'd rather go to jail than do these programs because it's hard. Yeah. Like you're going through the discovery of why things are, part of their behavioral or their behavior to create that behavioral change.
I assume that nobody that calls you wants to stay in jail.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
For the most part. No, well, look, like Pete said, it just depends on what your situation is. I mean, I guess life, it couldn't be that bad for me, but I mean, for some people, having 3 meals a day and a place to sleep is better than the alternative, right? And what potentially could happen to them. So we certainly do not encourage that, obviously. That's like, but it does exist.
And you've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can
sure.
imagine. Like, what's it? Obviously, the 3 squares, I get that part. But are there other reasons that people are like, I would just rather, I don't want to deal with what's on the outside. I don't want to. I would rather just be told what to do, and I'm just going to go and not.
Well, the medical's a big component,
yeah.
right? I mean, some of these jails, the medical is millions of dollars, and you have mental health issues, and that's like what a lot of these wraparound services and stuff that Pete offers, which is what kind of led me to Reconnect and wanting to do a partnership with Reconnect. Was it's stuff that I believe in too, because I see it on the front end and working with all these law enforcement agencies and the jails and stuff like that. And he already has existing relationships here in Georgia that they're currently, servicing that are going extremely well.
The other thing I would say is some of these are deep scars. These are emotional things that you're trying to peel back the layers of, why'd you go down certain routes, right? And so that can be scary for people as well, right? Is to, address those, identify those. But the reality is those are the things that you have to do. You can't cheat the process, and that's what's going to help you be a better person and be a person in the community. And so we see that. So trying to, build a pipeline to the, community-based programs to get them the help and walk them through that and hold their hand to get them where they need to be.
Talking to Pete Andrews, he's the CEO of Reconnect. And then this is a top 10 community corrections service provider offering innovative products and services, probation, parole, reentry, and pretrial programs through technology. And, of course, Daniel Madelon, CEO and founder of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. Y'all keep saying something that I don't know that I know what the answer is, or the people listening might know the answer to. Wraparound programs. That sounds like very insider. It sounds inside baseball, and a guy like me might not, or someone listening might not know. What do you mean by that?
Treatment, education, housing, job, right? All the stuff that you need and core stuff for living, right? Is those services. And if you go into a reentry program or you're getting out of jail, if you haven't had those, right? Those are things that are critical for their well-being and for them to not end back in the same spot.
And Tug, another way to look at it would be alternatives to incarceration.
Okay.
I mean, that's a kind of simple way of saying it.
Yeah, okay. Because I can see how with you, with Second Chance Bail Bonds, you're interacting with those people that actually need a bond to get out of jail, right? But where Pete, it's a little different for you. Like I guess I'm trying to connect the dots, between you and the actual end user.
Sure. So we meet them where they're at, right? And it's usually cell phone. And so we provide cell phones. We provide an app with court reminders on it, with education content on it, with engagement things to make sure they're doing curfew checks or accountability-based requirements. And so, again, meeting where they're at, constantly engaging with them, building out a library of local resources to show them, like, hey, here's who's available, right? And so just teeing it up right in front of them.
How does that monitoring work exactly? Because it goes from you and your equipment, let's say at Reconnect. Does it go to Daniel like a bail bondsman? Does it go to the police department? Does it go to the state? Who does it go to?
Yeah, it can be structured a lot of different ways. Depends on how the agency wants it, right? It's working with the sheriff's department if they have a diversion program or if it's a reentry program. It's really trying to figure out where do you want the data to flow to for any kind of alerts or things of that nature. Well, what I would say is in our platform, we've got liveness detection. And so what happens a lot of times, you've got to do your requirement and you're doing a facial detection on your phone. And so it's matching that up to confirm that you are that person. If there's any kind of discrepancies, then it'll go out to, whichever, if it's sheriffs, if it's probation, if it's second chance, or it can go out to all of them.
And for you, Daniel, it just seems like that technology makes what you're doing that much easier and that much more convenient.
Well, and it gives people resources, right? I mean, in some cases, it's going to be court mandated, and obviously we want to offer a boutique, which is what we are, right? Second Chance Monitoring is a boutique that offers multiple solutions, and Reconnect has a lot of those solutions, right? So that's why this was an easy decision on my end, because it was like, this is great, and we want to offer the best of what's out there, right? But it gives people also structure, and so some of that, some people need that, right? So you're not going to go reoffend and things of that nature. So it's like, hey, I've got this phone, I know when my court date is, I can do my job searches, there's a multitude of things that you can go down, but it just helps people. It's just another tool in the toolbox,
And so for me as a layman, when I hear this, it's almost like my company is a broadcast company. Mm-hmm. Yet inside this broadcast company, we need Microsoft Office. So we can do the work we need to do to write stories to be posted on the internet, to write news stories that we'll broadcast during the day. It is just a suite of softwares, a suite of technology that makes Daniel's life easier to second chance bail bonds. It makes the life probably of the law enforcement community's life that much easier, and you simply provide it. You're the Microsoft in this equation.
Small Microsoft, but yes, we
maybe not that big. Maybe not the best example, but you follow where I'm going with.
I appreciate your energy. It's how we think about it. We're always trying to innovate. We want to be able to be that conduit, right? The nexus for everybody to get those resources and to genuinely help, right? And that's what we're trying to do. And the other thing I would add is too scalability, right? So you're asking some of these officers to do a significant amount of work. If they've got a 50, 100, 200 caseload, it's hard to keep up with everybody. And if you can automate some of that, to just look at the top of the funnel, like, hey, who missed a check-in, who missed this thing, now I can identify those things, and a lot of it's automating it for them to make it easier, and then focus on the work that matters, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, for me, I have a hard time, Daniel, keeping up with my daily honey-do list. So I can't imagine when you said 200 cases, like I can't imagine what law enforcement officers are, because you have the danger of pulling somebody over. You have the danger of being on a job every day that just inherently has risk involved. And then on top of that, you have mountains of paperwork. And this seems like it automates it a little bit. Am I right? Am I seeing that right?
Yeah. It's resources. I mean, and it streamlines a lot of this stuff that, it really, in my opinion, sets people up for success. I mean, and that's ultimately what we're going after is success. That's the win. That's the victory in all this.
Yeah, so
100%.
Automation, making things easier for our law enforcement officers. There, as we talked to Pete Andrews, he's the CEO of Reconnect, and that is a top 10 community correction service provider that offers innovative products and services for probation, parole, reentry, and pretrial programs. If you miss any of the show so far, then you can go back and listen to it on the Extra 106.3 app, at the podcast park at extra1063.com. So easy to hear some of the things that they're involved with and some of the things that they're doing. And you've been involved with volunteering for many years with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MADD. Everybody's familiar with the MAD logo. More than 20 years you've been doing that.
Yeah, I have pictures of both my kids as babies going to the Mad Walks. And so, it's always been a supporter of what they do. And again, it's about creating better outcomes and success. And so, always try to be part of community partners like that. It's really important. For me, it recalibrates myself going to those events to kind of like hear these, heart-wrenching stories and all these people are trying to help our community.
Yeah, because sometimes I would imagine it's like you can't see the forest for the trees a little bit because you're so inside what's going on. Yeah. It's hard to see what's going on around you. And that may be a bad example, but I know I fall into that trap. You know what I mean? Like, I assume everybody knows all the things that I've talked about on my show for a day or 2 days or several weeks. I assume everybody knows about it. I assume everybody understands it. And they're as up to date on that stuff as I am. And boy, am I wrong.
Yeah. And I go back to Daniel and my comment about working so much. It's when you go to those events or you see impact in people's lives like that are changed, that gives you that fuel to continue to push, right? And that's why we work so hard for this stuff.
You've been a part of the corporate board of the American Probation and Parole Association. What is that? How are you involved, and what was the benefit of that?
So it's a premier group for probation and parole. I got the opportunity to serve on the corporate board years ago. Got a great rapport with them. We're a strong corporate partner. Just love what they do. They bring thought leaders together. They talk about evidence-based practice. Just a proud partner of what they do and how they bring people together to educate, train, and continue to be community heroes, because a lot of these people are changing a lot of lives in their community.
Talking to Pete Andrews, CEO of Reconnect, and of course my co-host Daniel Madelon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. Daniel, that's something that both of your companies seem to really understand, the need to be in the community, supporting the community, not only from your work perspective, but in volunteer form, much like Pete with MAD and the American Probation and Parole Association. And I know your hands are in all sorts of nonprofits, all sorts of, helping nonprofits. You're creating your own nonprofit for that matter, and your own foundation. And that's something that's so important, I believe, because in the line of work, there needs to be that glimmer of hope, that ray of hope for not only you and the people that work in your office, but the people that are working with you because of the situation they're in.
Yeah, and it's one step further beyond the processes and the wraparound services and the things that we're talking about. That's where the foundation piece comes in, because then it even allows us to even stay in longer now, right? So, and I believe the longer you touch something, the better the odds are.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, there you go. What about the defendants that are eligible for monitoring? Because, I mean, I don't know this, so please don't, y'all don't laugh at me when I mean, people are accused of murder. Are they able to do this, or is it just people that have maybe a petty theft or something? Where does all this, and who decides?
It varies state to state, county by county, right? Typically, you're not going to see someone that has had a.
I didn't expect so, but
yeah,
I mean,
no, it's a great question. I mean, and there's folks that you'd think wouldn't be in jail that are, and vice versa, right? And so that's a little bit of different philosophies by states or counties on how they kind of categorize those groups. What I can say for us specifically is we kind of deal with a low risk to mid risk population. So like petty theft, kind of small crimes, like, again, why send them to jail, right? If it's a small thing, like, let's figure out alternative options that don't exonerate the person, right? Let's do anger management classes. Let's do financial literacy. Like, let's make sure you do curfew checks for a period of time. And so there's accountability that you can do for that, and that's kind of the population that we serve, is that low to mid risk. If we think it's higher than that, it's typically like an ankle bracelet, right? And then above that is obviously incarceration.
Yeah, Daniel, for y'all, I mean, because y'all deal with everybody, right? I mean, at any level.
At any level.
And what is it? What's the benefit, in your opinion, for the community when you have the ability to use like ankle monitoring? And are there other types of monitoring because I've just said ankle? Are there other types? And then,
well, yeah, there's, I mean, through their app, through the Reconnect app, there's GPS tracking as well for a more lower risk offender, which is what I am a huge fan of.
Is that like just an app on a phone?
Hmm?
Right. Yeah, okay. Very simple, not, just pretty straightforward from what we're talking about. But having all of that stuff, to me, is important, because it's like what ends up happening is like a minor shoplifting charge turns into a, maybe something else, and then it goes down and it snowballs, right? So having stuff like this that we can use that's just very on the surface but is effective, then you hope that you prevent the especially in the younger people too, I mean, and even in anybody for that matter, but it helps prevent the bigger stuff. That's what you want to try to get her.
I mean, you hear the stories of someone got put into jail and they've been in there for 2 or 3 years when really they should have been out in 3 months, right? And it's because of a variety of other things that happen when you're in there. And speaking about the youth population as well, I mean, that's, it's absolutely accurate. It's like, how is that really helping a 15, 16-year-old kid, right? Like, let's get them the help that they really need to figure out what's going on. Again, not saying that it's not warranted for certain situations, but there should be different levels.
When it makes sense.
When it makes sense. You got to do assessments, got to figure out where they're at, meet them where they're at, and create programs that are really identifying and addressing the underlying problems.
Okay, we talked about ankle monitoring and we talked about the app. Are those the only two technologies? Is there something newer out there that you guys are creating or starting to use and implement?
It's quite a variety of things out there. I mean, we have a lot of learning stuff on our platform, just a variety of other tools that agencies can use. A lot of times we go in and customize. It's not us going in and saying, hey, we have all this. We usually go to them and say, like, what are your biggest problems, right? And then we build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you use it as well? I mean, you just say, okay.
Every agency is different. Some want the full Monty, then some just want certain pieces of it, so they want to go a la carte. So and that goes back to the boutique, right? Yeah. So it's like what I've learned is that you know the more you have, the better, which allows. Everybody's different, right? And so certain judges like certain things, some don't like certain things. I mean, it's just
populations are different too, right?
That's
so
right.
Like it just might warrant something else instead of just over prescribing something that probably isn't the best use. So having that boutique, I think, is really important for that.
Yeah, I would imagine that the way people look at law enforcement officers and this technology in California would be very different than Georgia or North Carolina, where you are.
Yeah.
And the difference in the way that people want to utilize it and make it available.
Yeah, the application can be different in different places for sure.
It's fascinating to see how it all comes together and how many people, see the need but then apply it differently. That's interesting. So I bet you travel quite a bit, huh?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. It's an understatement. I've had a little bit of downtime recently, but yeah, I do travel a lot because I'm very hands-on. I like to go in person and kind of, see the agency, see what's going on, what are the pain points, and work with our partners directly.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the way you build relationships. That's how you establish that trust. So when you come in, they're not like, oh, this guy's just trying to sell us
Absolutely.
the next gadget. This is a guy that we can trust and we have worked with in the past, and building that rapport, I would imagine, is the most important thing you can do.
100%. Built a career off it, right? It's critical, right? Because it is trust and it's relationship, and you're dealing with a public safety issue, and you don't want to be risky. You want to make sure that you deliver on what they're needing, and backing it up. And so we do a lot of case studies, we do a lot of research studies, and try to provide a lot of like evidence-based practices to kind of show proof of the stuff that we're doing.
You talked about the programs to work with a little bit because you hit some of the youth stuff. What other programs do you work with?
Yeah, so we work with juvenile population. So what kid doesn't have a phone? We've got a 12-year-old that's on it all the time.
Today. No kidding.
And they're on it all the time, right? Work with probation, do a lot of virtual supervision. So instead of having to drive in somewhere, they can do it virtually, or some sort of hybrid mix of it. Work with the reentry programs we talked about earlier about when getting out of prison, tailoring their aftercare program with them. Drug courts, we work a lot of especially specialized dockets, so people dealing with recovery and mental health. We work a lot of those programs as well, and we even work with behavioral health facilities and their outpatient service.
All 50 states?
We work in 40 states now. We do some international work as well.
Yeah, man, 40. That's a good little number.
That's why I'm on the road a lot.
That's I can only imagine. Holy cow! Yeah, it's fascinating. When we come back here on Extra 106.3, this is Back Your Blue. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO and founder of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. And the reason that this show happens, talking to great people like Pete Andrews, who is the CEO of Reconnect, which is a great technology solutions company helping communities, helping your community. Most likely, because I would imagine you have a lot of folks that you work with here in Metro Atlanta for sure, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when we come back, I want to get maybe a success story that you can give me an example of. That way when people go, okay, this does make a lot of sense. There is overpopulation in jails. Are there ways that we can put people in a better situation? And do the final segment with Pete Andrews, CEO of Reconnect, and, of course, Daniel Madelon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. My name is Tug Cowart. This is Extra 106.3. What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at firstlibertyga.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at FirstLibertyGA.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
Finding your direction, a career path, can be difficult. There's so many choices. Check out Life University and explore your options at their Eagle Madness Preview Day on Saturday, March 2nd. It's your opportunity to spend the day learning about their unique undergraduate programs like culinary nutrition, biology, business administration, and more. Come discover exciting majors and talk to current students and faculty at our beautiful Marietta campus. We'd love to see you at our Eagle Madness Preview Day on March 2nd. For more details and to register, visit life.edu/join today.
Extra 106.3 and a second chance bail bonds are here to back your blue. Now back to the show on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart, along with Daniel Madelon, who is the reason that this fantastic show happens, highlighting the good work that is being done in the law enforcement community, in the world of nonprofits and charities, things that benefit your community. Today's guest is Pete Andrews. He's the CEO of Reconnect. They use incredible, innovative products and services, usually using technology to work with probation, parole, reentry, and pre-trial programs in 40 states here in the United States, and then around the world, internationally as well. Based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, took the time to come down here to the Battery Atlanta at Truist Park here at Dickey Broadcasting Company, and it is any day you can be at the ballpark. It's a good day, man.
Absolutely.
I can't think of any place I'd rather be. Once in a while, you have to pinch yourself. It's like, holy cow, the stadium is right there.
Yeah.
There's just nothing cooler. I remember being a kid, and back when the Braves played in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and we would make that, go around the Grady curve, and right as you came out of it, there was the stadium, and it was like the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. And I marked every trip by when I got to see the stadium, so it's always so cool to do that. I want to talk to you about something that I think is really important, because we talk about using technology to alleviate overcrowding in jails. What about from a cost point of view, monitoring versus jailing people? Does it make sense? I would assume the answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got multiple case studies and research that we've partnered with folks on that have demonstrated that. And so we've one specifically in Texas that a county we've worked with that has been using our technology. The early research shows that all the stakeholders are satisfied, in the high 90s, if not 100, saying that it's made their lives easier by not having to go in so much. It's made the staff time more effective. Again, preliminary numbers is they're looking at saving around $500,000 on using this program versus some traditional technology that they would previously have done. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I know, Daniel, you guys implement and use a lot of this technology for the betterment of the law enforcement community, betterment of the community overall, and then people who are in a situation where they're faced with jail time.
Right.
And so it's been super beneficial for y'all.
Absolutely.
Okay. The programs that have been so successful and that you're so proud of, what are some really good? Because I want to leave people with a feeling of, hey, this is a way to really benefit our community by doing things that are going to be, like I was saying to Daniel, that we're going to benefit the community, but the law enforcement and everyone around, not only saving money, but when you can see actual positive results in somebody's life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the stats that come to mind for us are, I think last year we sent around 4.3 million behavioral change prompts to our users, which is massive. I think we saved 1.1 million technical violations, and that's important, right? Someone gets out of jail or they're awaiting and minor things of missing a court date or having some sort of technical violation that sets them back, right? And so to have over 1 million of those, we're really proud of that number as well.
Yeah, I would imagine. So, Daniel, is there anybody, and you don't have to give me a name specifically, but maybe a story in the background of somebody using the technology that y'all implemented, the second chance bail bonds, being a success story? Somebody's gone on to get their life straight and started a business or started a nonprofit.
Yeah, and so we've had several people, but there's a couple in particular where people have pretty much, fathers who have basically, gone down the road, right? So you're just going down this path, which through using this stuff has allowed them, and I would say it's the structure for me, like in these specific cases where it's structure, right? So it allowed, you have to take those baby steps, and then you kind of step up from there and kind of step up from there. And I know from personal experience, because I went through this, myself, and I was glutton for pain, and punishment. So I was a good trustee, but it's true though, right? And this allowed them to go be, this individual was able to go be a good parent and be a father and be there for their kids, where most people would have told you no chance in hell. Like, this guy was just destined for disaster, off the rails. But because they had access to these solutions, look, it's not going to work for everybody, right? And it's not a silver bullet or anything like that. But the people who do use it and they apply it correctly have a great shot. That's all we can hope for.
And that's why y'all partner together. I mean, it makes so much sense on the technology side. Obviously, you create it, and Daniel is able to implement it. And y'all have been working together how long now?
We've just started here soon.
Yeah, it's a new. Look, this is something that that is a new partnership that we're announcing. Cool. Currently, so it's.
Did I overstep my bounds? I didn't mean to do that. Okay.
No, we're
it was just under wraps. Did I spring the surprise too quickly?
No, we're excited. And so there's going to be more announcements coming out soon about our partnership, and we're really excited about what we can do in the future and the impact we can have in our community.
Yeah, there's a very big path forward, I think, with a second chance monitoring and Reconnect going forward. I'm extremely excited about it, and I think it's going to work really well.
That's awesome, and it'll benefit so many people. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You don't bust your tail and work your tail off and not hope for what you've done to make an impact.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end all be all, really.
Yeah.
Is just having that satisfaction of something that I did actually benefited people.
It's the fuel, right? It's what fuels our staff while they're so passionate about what we do. And I'm sure, Daniel, same thing with your team as well, is seeing that impact and being part of it. It's a little bit addicting again, right? It's to see that happen and see the next, population that you're working with and trying to figure out, well, how can I make that a little bit better for their lives?
Yeah, I love it. And I obviously know from working with you for, as long as we have now, that's the passion you have. I mean, you talked about your own background, and if you don't know it, you can go check out Daniel's website, and it's atlbail.com, and read it right there. Understand why that he's so passionate about this and why he believes in the work that he does. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's the goal of any job. Like, you want to feel satisfied. Nobody goes to work thinking, man, I hope I do a menial job and have no impact on anything. I mean, nobody wants that.
Right, and setting the expectation. I mean, look, this is not 100%. Like, you're not going to bat 1,000, right? It's nobody isn't. Once you get beyond that expectation, and then you can set forth all of these solutions for people. Look, I mean, they work. That's all I can tell you. They do work if you work them, and that's
saving the community money, giving people the access and the ability to do better, maybe in a bad situation. I think that's what it all comes down to. And so, how can folks find out more about the things that y'all are involved with at Reconnect? Because obviously, you've done and support MAD and other organizations like that. How do they find out about you and your company and I don't know if there's an involvement factor, but if there is.
Yeah, go to our website, reconnect.io. It's got a lot of information in there if you want to reach out to us directly and talk to some of our team. We've got ways that you can communicate with us via chat or messaging us. So we'd love to talk to you and talk about what we're doing. Or if you're passionate about technology and see opportunities where we could build something, we're always open to again, trying to make things better, and through technology is how we're trying to do that.
Hey, I'm telling you, Atlanta's a technology hub for sure. So that's actually won't fall on deaf ears. I think there's so many people, especially younger kids, that have incredible ideas and just don't know how to pursue them necessarily, and giving them the route to do that. It's pretty impressive. So reconnect.io.
Correct.
See, that's the key, man. Don't throw in a .com because you go into the wrong place. Reconnect.io. Reconnect.io. That'll do it for us. Pete, thank you so much for taking the time to come down from Raleigh and hang out with us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. And Daniel, make it a great weekend. Daniel is the founder and CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds, which is the reason that we do this show, Back Your Blue, here on Extra 106.3.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app.
Job seekers, stop the endless job hunt. The Blue Collar Recruiter is your key to the career you deserve. Are you a skilled worker seeking the right opportunity? Look no further. We connect you with employers who appreciate your dedication and expertise. Technicians, electricians, plumbers, welders, and more. We've got it all, and opportunities are just waiting for you. So skip the frustration and let us guide you to your next job. Call the Blue Collar Recruiter, 678-916-6145, or visit thebluecollarrecruiter.com.
Finding your direction, a career path, can be difficult. There's so many choices. Check out Life University and explore your options at their Eagle Madness Preview Day on Saturday, March 2nd. It's your opportunity to spend the day learning about their unique undergraduate programs like culinary nutrition, biology, business administration, and more. Come discover exciting majors and talk to current students and faculty at our beautiful Marietta campus. We'd love to see you at our Eagle Madness Preview Day on March 2nd. For more details and to register, visit life.edu/join today.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.